Hi there, I'm Melissa Benaroya. I'm a parent coach and creator of the Childproof Parenting Program. Welcome to How to Transform Your Child's Negative Self-Talk, which is part of the Big Life Journal's Growth Mindset Parenting series. In today's session, I'm going to share with you how empowering ourselves can be empowering to our children. So, in today's topic, we are going to cover a lot of ground. We're going to start off by discussing our own negative self-talk and how that influences our child, how we regulate it, how we can make some tweaks. We're also going to address the negative self-talk that we may be hearing in our children. And we're going to discuss how we can create a space where mistakes and failures are just viewed as opportunities for learning. We're going to discuss the importance of encouraging and acknowledging our children. And lastly, we're going to talk about the power of yet. All right, well, let's start off by addressing a situation that was sent in by one of the readers and probably something you've encountered before. So I'm just going to read off the situation that Felicia sent in. Felicia says, my 7-year-old called me an idiot last week. When I asked him why he would say such a thing, he said because he's heard me say it about myself, and he was really angry with what I was asking him to do. Yikes. And now this week he started calling himself and his sister demeaning names as well. Words he's heard me probably say to myself. I'm afraid I've unintentionally shown my kids a negative example and need some advice on what to do now, please. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Felicia, for sending that in and being brave enough to share that. I think this is something I hear over and over from parents in my private practice. So let's dig in. So first of all, you talked about noticing that maybe some of the things that he's saying are things that you've said about yourself. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge that we are very hard on ourselves as parents. There's a lot that we're juggling. So it's important, first and foremost, that we give ourselves grace, okay? Second of all, I want to acknowledge that many times when we are frustrated with ourselves, a mistake, a failure, many times we focus on our personality or character and say things like, oh, I'm so stupid, or why would I do such a stupid thing? I'm such an idiot, right? Maybe that's what your son picked up. And these are opportunities to notice that we're actually attacking our character. And in these moments, it's perfectly fine to acknowledge the mistake or the failure without identifying it is part of who we are. So let me share an example. The other day I was going through my checkbook and trying to balance the checkbook and noticed that I had just totally messed things up and probably said something like, I'm such an idiot. And this is the perfect place where instead of saying something out loud like I'm such an idiot, I can say, how did I make so many mistakes? Like, that was really stupid that I didn't write that down. I'm not saying I'm stupid, but I'm focusing on the action, the behavior, and the choice. So number one, just noticing that when we do get frustrated with ourselves and we are going to voice that out, which we do quite often, just notice how we're framing it. Are we framing it as a personality or character trait, or are we framing it as a mistake, something that we messed up on? And I think the same is true with our kids, right? You had talked about your kids fighting and calling names. So instead of saying something to your son like, God, you are so mean to your sister all the time, we can then instead say, wow, you know what you just said to your sister was really mean. So we're focusing on the choice. We're focusing on what he said to his sister and not him. He's not mean, but what he said definitely was mean. So I just wanted to first acknowledge that we all have some negative self-talk. We can regulate it. And I want to acknowledge that we are influencing our children through our behaviors. We are wired as humans to emulate one another. Our brains are wired to replicate each other's actions and each other's emotions. We have these things in the brain called mirror neurons, and they exist because we're social animals and we connect through shared emotions and shared experiences. And that's why when somebody yawns really big, all of a sudden you feel the need to yawn. Or maybe your child totally flips out of something totally stupid, and then all of a sudden you feel the need to like flip out, or you catch yourself flipping out. It's because our brains are wired this way to emulate one another. So just being mindful that we are modeling everything for our child. They are listening, they are paying attention, and their brain is wired to emulate some of the things that you're doing. So first and foremost, just being mindful of our negative self-talk, reframing that and focusing on the mistakes and the things that we don't feel great about, and externalizing that. It's not about me and who I am, it's about the choices or things that I've said. And then also noticing that these little kids are sponges and parrots. They are absorbing everything and they are parroting everything back. So with that knowledge, I'd love to share with you a few things that we can do to transform our child's negative self-talk, because you showed up today because you've probably heard some of this already. So number one, I just want to acknowledge that we can shift our attitude about mistakes and failures. They're not bad things, they're actually wonderful things. And our attitude about mistakes and failures is really, really key, because mistakes are simply opportunities for learning. The word fail can often mean a first attempt in learning. There's nothing wrong with these things, and they're really, really powerful moments. So it can be helpful to model this for our kids, because once again, they're replicating everything that we do. So in moments where we are upset and frustrated, or we've made a mistake, we can talk about, instead of how dumb that mistake was, but like, God, I realize that it's important that I keep up with my checkbook on a weekly basis, because I tend to make mistakes when I leave it till the end of the month, right? So we focus on the learning. And when our kids fall short or fail or are frustrated because they're not learning something quick enough, we can talk about how far they've gotten so far, how exciting it is that they get to take on some new challenges. So your excitement about these mistakes or failures or inability to do things is really, really powerful. Number two, I want to acknowledge that when things are going well, parents tend to praise their children. Wow, what a beautiful drawing. You were so great on the soccer field today. We hear a lot of that because in the 70s, the belief was if we pumped everybody up, it would build their self-esteem. And what we found was it was just the opposite, because on the opposite of good job, good throwing, good drawing is bad job, bad drawing, bad throwing, right? So our kids are very reliant on our opinions and our thoughts. And when we're throwing a lot of praise at them, when the praise doesn't exist, they interpret that as bad job. So what I suggest instead is focusing on acknowledging and encouraging. And we do this by simply making an evaluation-free statement. It's not good or bad. We're just acknowledging what we're seeing. We're acknowledging the effort. We're acknowledging the process. And we can do that in one of three ways. So in order to avoid that falling into the praise trap, we can, number one, say nothing. We don't always have to be giving feedback about everything. So just acknowledging that sometimes it's best just to say nothing and observe with your eyes. Number two, we can just make that evaluation-free statement. Wow, you kicked the soccer ball really far. It looked like it made it across the field today. How do you feel about how you played, right? So, wow, it looks like you decided to use 10 colors in your drawing today instead of the 3 favorite ones that you tend to use. So just acknowledging some of these things. Or, oh, wow, you did it, right? Those are simple ways of acknowledging our child, and they get to decide whether it's a good job or a bad job. And then lastly, what we can do is ask some curiosity questions. Super powerful. What do you think you did well today during the soccer game? How do you feel about the picture you drew? Tell me how you figured that out. So asking about their process, asking about how they feel about their drawing or their accomplishments is a great way to reinforce positive self-talk. Because once again, when praise is absent, they tend to look at this as negative feedback. So just being mindful of how we give feedback to our child. And lastly, I wanted to share with you the power of the word yet. So we will hear our kids say, just can't do it, or I can't believe I got such a bad grade. I'm not good at math, right? And in those moments, we can just add the word yet. Yeah, you're not great at math yet because you just started this whole new chapter. This is something you're working on. It's fantastic. And then we can go back to looking at the mistakes, like what did you learn from this? So being mindful that throwing that word yet in takes a fixed mindset phrase and makes it more of a hopeful statement. So one easy way to respond when our child is frustrated with themselves and their skills, their ability, and their performance. So again, today, I just want to leave you with reminding yourselves that how you're showing up, what you're saying is influencing your child, and not just how they think about you, but how they think about ourselves. We are modeling everything all day long. So being mindful of that negative self-talk and transforming our own. And then when we hear self-talk from our children, we can help transform that as well by number one, by grasping that attitude and normalizing that mistakes are opportunities for learning, that this is part of the learning process. This is great, right? Second, being mindful of how much praise that we're giving our children. It comes out, we can't help it, but we can monitor ourselves and be more mindful of giving acknowledgement and encouragement to children, because praise is like sugar. It's nice every once in a while, but we need a healthy diet of encouragement and acknowledgement. And lastly, how we can insert that word yet when our child is frustrated or disappointed about their skills, abilities, and accomplishments. Thank you so much, Big Life Journal, for inviting me here today to chat with all of you. I look forward to seeing you all again soon on Friday. Take care.